Aloha everybody, welcome to Culinary 310's project part 2. My name is Ken, and contributing to this project was Cynthia, Neil, and Yomi. Let's get started. Covering these three topics today: category ranking, state-run organizations, and addressing the economic crisis. Starting with number one, topic one, hospitality businesses that are heavily impacted by COVID-19. We ranked them 4 to 1. Number 4, event planning. Number 3, restaurants. Number 2, airlines. And number 1, hotels. Diving deeply into our number 1 ranking, hotels. They were struggling since the beginning of the first lockdown, with most of them closing down and still being closed. One of the few hotels that are still open, Outrigger Resorts, specifically Outrigger Waikiki, have had to implement many different ways of operations, including social distancing and certain sanitizing differences. This does create a big influx in the unemployment factor, as many employees had been laid off due to the closure of their hotels. If we compare the numbers from last year, July till this year, you'll see a drop in the average daily rate, a 42.7% drop. The RevPAR dropped 86% from last year, and occupancy was 64.4% lower this year than it was last year. A huge hit to our economy, as the summer months, including July, is a critical factor in the revenue that we bring in as a state. Moving on to the airlines here, huge hit on the airlines, as the 14-day quarantine has caused a lot of airlines to cancel or suspend their routes to Hawaii. The local airline, Hawaiian Airlines, has had to change their fee policy for all of their passengers, so guests can change their flights without any change fees. They've also implemented health and safety programs and a health acknowledgement form, and required adequate face covering for all their passengers on all their flights. However, due to their reduced schedule since March, there aren't very many flights that are even going on right now. They have also continued to cap their cabin capacity at 70% through October to allow for onboard distancing. Continuing on, going through some statistics by air travel here. In July of this year, we only had 22,562 visitors compared to 995,000 visitors last year in July. A huge hit to our economy. Second group of passengers that come to our islands outside of the United States, besides the United States, is Japan, where we only had 54 total visitors from Japan this July compared to 134,000 last year. This is mainly because most of the international airlines have suspended flights to Hawaii, including Japan Airlines and All Nippon Airlines, both based out of Japan. Recently, Hawaiian Airlines has also had to furlough employees due to the loss of routes and revenue. Number 3, restaurants. Over 50 restaurants statewide has closed permanently due to COVID-19. No one is safe, including high-end restaurants and restaurants with headquarters on the mainland, including places like Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, all the way to smaller local restaurants like 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 Drive-In that have had a history here on our islands for 30 years, a huge part of the community in which they are at. The restaurant, food and beverage industry, losing this many places has again created a huge influx of unemployment rate since the beginning of COVID-19. At one point, the restaurants did open up again for dine-in operations. However, due to social distancing, could only operate at 50%. But now, because of the new proclamation, dine-in has been restricted again or eliminated, only allowing for takeout options. Because of this, though, restaurants have increased their spending on personal protective equipment for their staff. They've also had to purchase items like plexiglass to separate tables. They've had to do temperature checks for both their staff and customers, changing menus so that they can be sanitized each time after use, and also purchasing cleaning equipment that is satisfactory for cleaning every point of the restaurant. The next topic, or the next one, is event planning. Industries such as the wedding industry, live music shows and events, and sporting events have all been canceled, or most of them has been canceled or suspended. The wedding industry, which is a pretty big industry here in Hawaii, has come to a near halt as as cancellations continue to pile up because of COVID-19. All live shows have been canceled, from the Waikiki Shell to the Blaisdell Arena to Concert Hall. All have been canceled. Sporting events canceled from Little League to the university level have all been postponed. Topic number 2, statewide organizations important to support the specific categories of businesses. The Hawaii Department of Transportation worked with NEC Corporation to install temperature screening equipment at 5 airports statewide. This includes Honolulu, Kona, Hilo, Kahului, and Lihue. So this way, instead of the Hawaii National Guard members manually checking every passenger that comes from a trans-Pacific flight as they deplane, cameras are installed at the gates and will capture anyone whose temperature is over 100.4 degrees in a much smoother and safer manner. This is another step forward in preventing the possible spread of COVID-19. Also, Hawaii Agricultural Foundation. This is where the agriculturals, the farmers, and restaurants are working together to help promote produce usage in Hawaii. Hawaii Food and Wine Festival, which yearly coordinates restaurants and chefs to come together in multiple events across our islands, have gone to virtual events this year. The revenue for this does contribute to the funding of KCC's culinary program. One Oahu organization partnered with City and County of Honolulu and Resilient Oahu and the Department of Emergency Management has worked with Mayor Kirk Caldwell to add $75 million in grants to be available for Oahu's small businesses. Topic 3, what we think the state is doing wrong in addressing the economic challenges of the hospitality industry in Hawaii. Updates on proclamations, mandates, and orders. And if you look at the third point there, the reason I want to skip around is because there is confusion among Kama'aina and visitors as to what these updated procedures were. So in April, Governor Ige issued a proclamation restricting the 4 county mayors from enacting any emergency response policies without the approval from the governor. What this does is put everybody on the same page. However, it can delay policies being issued in the specific counties that are trying to process mandates in a quick and fast manner. However, hotels like Alohilani and organizations like HTA are keeping their websites current with the latest updates on these proclamations. The Hawaii Trans-Pacific Program, a program that has been delayed month after month, is a program that will allow pre-testing to travelers who want to enter our state as long as they have a negative COVID-19 test within 3 days of travel. Governor Ige has postponed this program currently up until October 15th, and hoping that when that time comes, he will be lifting that and enacting this program so that we can bring visitors back towards our islands. And one last thing is the lack of state unity. Now, this has been a big topic for our state as our citizens have become frustrated with the closure of so many businesses and the loss of jobs and the hit that our economy has been taking. However, this is because of the rise of COVID-19 cases, and so it's really difficult in that unless we lower the number of COVID cases on a daily basis, it's hard to justify opening up the economy again. So people do need to work together with the government and CDC to help lower these cases so that we can eventually open our economy. So as our conclusion here, there has been a huge effect on businesses both local and those from the mainland or internationally, and it has caused a huge spike in unemployment throughout our state. The state has begun to take measures to reopen the state to visitors. However, there's still a lot that the people of Hawaii have to do before we can begin to heal the economy. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate you listening and hope to see you again next time. Mahalo.